It's Saturday, and this is typically not the day that I will pop on Stories with Kishen, but guess what? Sometimes you got to just go with the flow, and however it leads you, you just be ready to deliver whatever it is that you have to deliver. Thank you so much for tuning in to Stories with Kishen, Ordinary People with Extraordinary Lives. Today is Saturday. I was getting ready to say September. Lord, we're not there yet. We know that it's springtime, not harvest time, autumn time, but today is Saturday, April 17th. Lord, just be with me on today. But as I've been sharing pretty much all week, I have an exciting presentation for you today. You need to stay tuned in because this is going to be conversation that is needed, that is true, that is authentic, and hopefully it will bless somebody in the process. So I am going to Hey, Ina. I am going to bring to the broadcast the author of this book. This book is called Led Astray, A Single Mother's Journey from Failure to Faith. And without further ado, and now that she's all beautified, we are going to bring none other than Patricia. Now, I've been saying Ansari. Have I been saying that wrong?
No, that's right. Patricia Ansari. That's pretty correct. I'd say that's good enough. Yep. Yes, I will. I would say that's good enough.
Is it Ansari? You know, some people.
It's my ex-husband's name.
But you know what? It's still very different. It's unique. So when people say your name, you know who they're talking about.
Yes, they know exactly. And you know why? And I'm not married anymore, but I decided to keep that name, Kishen, because I kind of think about it like a Tina Turner thing. I want to keep the name. I feel like I've done all my credentials in the name. And so I am planning on keeping the name.
You know what? I'm not mad because Tina made a lot of money off that name.
And you know what else? It's something else that I realized just since you asked me to do this in this book situation. The last name is a Muslim last name. Mm-hmm. I was married to a Muslim.
Okay.
And everything that I write about is Christian. So I was approached the other day by a clinical behavioral specialist about my name and the content of my book. And I told him, well, who knows? I may convert someone. That's not an issue for you to be concerned about. The only thing you should be concerned about is what's inside the book.
Say that.
So that's how I felt about that name.
Okay. I'm not mad at you. Well, let's jump into this book because when I started reading it, I didn't know what to expect. And I remember you and I, was it last year about this time or so? You were talking about writing the book, and I'm like, you're not ready.
Before COVID.
Yep. It was before COVID.
Yes, it was.
And I said, you're not ready. And you said, yes, I am, Kishen. I said, mm-mm. And you proved me wrong. Not only did you prove me wrong, but here's the proof. And I've read it.
With all the pretty little sticky notes.
Now that's how you know when I've read a book, if I'm highlighting and putting little post-its.
Word.
Yes. Let's talk about this book. Let's talk about
it.
Oh, you know what?
Talk about it. I got the book right in front of me. Let's talk about it.
And so I have an autographed copy.
Yes, you do.
So I'm just so grateful for that. And I'm not going to read what it says because it's mine and no one else's.
It's yours. I autographed everybody's, especially for them.
Aw. So if somebody wants to get a book, you going to autograph it for them?
Yes, if they contact me and inbox me on Facebook or Instagram, I can send them a book for $15.99 at my PayPal or my Cash App, which I don't have all together.
That's all right.
So I'm really not concerned. I'm really not big on selling the book I have a mentor. Her name is Angela Hook. And she was telling me that maybe I should look into gifting the book. And since
Hmm.
I've been in Omaha, Nebraska, I have went to a open door mission, and I have donated the book. I have taken my book to the Omaha Public Library to have it submitted into their circulation. So the book really is something. I've given the book away to a lot of females. I actually gave the book away to a female at Charles Drew Health Center who was struggling with losing her kids. They
Hmm.
had taken her children, and I never been through that, but I had this book in my purse, and it was a book that I had autographed to another one of my mentors, Shawnette Davis, who helped me write this book. And I gave the young lady the book. I just gave it to her. I said, this is who I'm supposed to give this book to. And I gave it to
Yeah.
her. I don't know the lady, but I gave it to her. So, yeah, I'm hoping that this book can help unlock some people from bondage or whatnot.
And I think that I think it will. But let's talk about it because I literally read everything from cover to cover. So I
All
read
right,
the
let's talk about it.
everything. But I want to start with the back about the author.
Okay.
Um, and I'm just gonna read this and then I'll just ask you to comment. So it says the story behind the story. Before I knew it, I had tried cocaine. Well, I guess you can say I liked it. It must have been all the physical and mental abuse that helped me accept the invitation to snort cocaine. An addict knows that is
Any
all
addict.
it takes. Any
Any
addict
addict
knows.
knows that's all it takes.
All right,
One
you
time.
take it from there. Keep going.
It's
Keep
all
going.
that's all it takes is one time. Any addict knows that's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And that one invitation can lead you to your death.
Mm.
And thank God that I was allowed another chance. And this is my story. And actually, Kishen, this is the story that you held in your hand.
I
This is what you told
remember.
me that I wasn't ready to tell. Maybe that's why it's at the end of the book. I'm not sure. And this is the actual story that you had in your hands, Lord Jesus, before it was able to be put in this book.
Mm. Yeah, because I remember I said, no,
Yeah,
no, you're not ready.
yeah.
Because when we met at the library that time and talked, um, I was trying to figure out what direction is this going? How can we share it in a way that people would understand? But you talk about you were married to one alcoholic. So let's just talk about what your journey
Um,
looked like.
I was married to the Muslim,
Mm-hmm.
which was an alcoholic at the time. He's no longer an alcoholic,
Praise the
but he
Lord.
was he was at the time. He was an educated alcoholic.
Mm.
He was the type of person that intimidated me to the point where I had to study dictionaries to find out the definition of what he was saying to me because I didn't have that much book smart as him, and he didn't have that much street smarts as me.
So do you think that he was talking to you in a way that would make you feel beneath him?
I wanted to find out. That's why I went in. I started going to the libraries in Denver because I got married in Denver, Colorado. And I was going to the libraries and everything and whatever we didn't have Google and all of that. That was 30 years ago. And yes, I thought that in some ways he was trying to be a little demeaning to me, but I felt like I was stronger than him.
Okay.
And I didn't know why I felt that way, but I felt like I was stronger than him. And I wanted to know what he was saying.
Okay. Okay.
I
So
went back to school too. I went and enrolled in college.
So you were in Colorado. First of all, where did you grow up?
In Flint, Michigan.
So now were you born in Flint? Are you a
Yes,
Flintstone?
I'm a Flintstone. I was born and I was raised until the age of 31 years old is when I left Flint. I'm 51 years old. I've been going away from home 20 years.
So from Flint to Colorado.
Yep.
Colorado
And then I came back to Flint because I was 19 when I went to Colorado. And then I got pregnant. I ran from there and went to visit some friends in Florida, then went back to Flint, stayed in Flint, and had two more children.
By your first husband?
No, I left
Let's
it.
talk about that, because as I was reading this, and I didn't know that you were masking your pain through promiscuity
Oh
and
yeah, promiscuity, which I'm finding out it links a lot from where I'm at right now.
mhm,
Um, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. A lot of these women here are led by their flesh,
mm,
and they kind of like to do anything to keep a man type of situation. And my mom was like that, and so I watched it growing up. Even though I wasn't raised where I'm at, I
yeah.
can tell these women they might think I'm Madam Cleo. I got in trouble for that the other day because I think I can predict people's futures. You know, mouth can run off real fast,
Touch, oh
and I
God.
apologize if any of them is watching. I apologize. I meant no harm towards anybody on there, but no, by watching my mother fight for the love of a man who has 6 daughters by 4 different women, that was hard. That was hard
Yeah.
for me to deal with. So I thought that I always had to. I just thought I had to do whatever they wanted me to do to be in a midst, but that's not true anymore. But at that
So
time, I thought that. So I
you
did.
did that
Did yeah,
for a while, for a
yeah,
long while.
for a long while.
Um, so how old were you when you had your first child?
20.
You were 20.
Yep,
And then you had two more,
yep.
and then you had a break.
I had a long break.
You had a break from having children,
Yes,
but you still got pregnant.
yes. I've been pregnant multiple times. I've had abortions and I've had miscarriages in between all those. And the break in between me having another generation of children, that was 13 years.
Okay. And so that break of having children is when you became addicted to cocaine. So
Yes.
let's talk about that. Now, was that before or after you came to Grand Rapids?
Nope, that was when I got into Grand Rapids.
So let's talk about that a little bit. You came to Grand Rapids. What brought you here, first of all?
I was in Nebraska, right here where I'm at right now. And Nebraska, oh Lord, I'm wearing a shirt right now. I rushed so much, but God just ordained for this shirt to be on my body right now. It's about a lady named, she wasn't a lady, she was a girl. Her name was Vivian Strong. She was 14 years old. She was killed by the Omaha Police Department. They don't never say her birthday. They don't never say anything about her. Her family has struggled after this. I was told that my grandmother was holding this young lady as she left this earth. So it's kind of become nostalgic for me. But I left here because of the depression. This is an all Republican state. And if you've ever felt in bondage
Mm.
and you don't feel like you ever going to have a way out, I would say that Nebraska is the place that you will probably feel that mostly in all of the places that I visited in the United States. They rule with an iron fist. They still have the electric chair. Um, Even though there may not be a lot of stuff talked about as far as crime committed towards blacks, they don't need to talk about it because they got them scared enough to not want to do anything.
Oh,
They don't
wow.
want to do nothing. And so that was something that I kind of slipped out of my mouth yesterday. And it wasn't really projected at the people that heard me say it. It was more or less projected to the people that I live around. And I have become, I already was rough around the edges, but I've become dogmatic in this place. to fight for my peace and freedom within myself and not to assimilate with them.
Yeah.
So Nebraska, I left running here. I left running here because I was severely depressed, and cocaine was on it was on the list, but I wouldn't have made it here. So God intervened. He
Yeah.
helped me get up out of here. I didn't want to go back to Flint. I asked my niece, find me a place that's similar to this, that I'm gonna make the same amount of money. She said it's a place called Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I bought 4 one-way tickets to Grand Rapids, Michigan.
So you came to Grand Rapids, and where did you stay? Where did you live? Because at this point,
I went to Mel Trotter Ministries. They was the only place that would take me. I called ahead of time to shelters that would take me and my 3 children. Mel Trotter was the only place that would take me. So when I got to Grand Rapids, the bus station was on Wealthy at the time. And they came and got me from Wealthy Street, me and my kids. And I stayed there for 2 weeks. And then in that 2-week span, I met the lady that would make me remember Jesus. And that was Miss Wilma Brewer, because she was the head of the shelter there. And I also met a young lady that took me to a church that performed a baptism on me with nothing on under it but a white robe. And after that, I started snorting cocaine.
So do you think that experience with the baptism was just enough to just send you to try whatever you could that was going to dull the pain, remove the pain? Because I can't imagine being baptized and you really didn't want to be baptized, but you were sort of tricked into being baptized.
I was ushered into it by a whole bunch of speaking in tongues and hurry up. It was really the wife. I'm not even going, it was the wife. She initiated it. The wife initiated it. And she is the one who took me in the basement to try to find something to put on. She is the one who improperly sent me to her husband at that pool or wherever, the bath thing, the where it happened, that it don't even stand no more. The church been towed down. And that was right there on Granville and Wealthy. So the church now don't even stand. So that's where it happened at. I think I was overwhelmed. They say when you make such a big move, I was 32 with 3 kids in a new place. Yeah, I know I'm a sinner. They gonna get up there. Them storefront preachers know how to really reel you in like they are the fishing bank. He had me feeling some type of way. She wasn't working. She wasn't helping it. They wasn't, come on, let me take you back here and talk to you, and we're going to get you ready and some consultations or something you got to talk to. No, it wasn't none of that. It was like, we're going to do it right now. Right now.
Wow. How long after this baptism did you stay at that church?
I didn't go back. My aunt that's got Alzheimer's right now in Detroit, she the one who named that chapter. She said he a spiritual pimp, baby.
Wow.
So, and she said, don't go back. And I didn't ever go back.
But at this point,
I never went back after they even did the baptism. I never stepped back foot in that church ever again.
So after this baptism, now your kids were there. They witnessed this.
Yes, my children was there. The 3 oldest children.
What was their reaction?
Well, my daughter, she's 31 and about to have a baby now. She said smoke was rising from the pool. My son will be 28 years old this year. He said he could see all my naked body. He said, Mama, I could see all of that when he brought you up. And the baby boy, he was just a baby. So he was 6 or something. He didn't say nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't say nothing.
So do you think that experience for them traumatized them?
Yes. It's messed with their faith. It interferes with their faith.
Yeah. Even now?
Yes.
Okay. So let's transition because then there's this relationship with the scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz.
The scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. I met him in an active addiction.
Wait, you met him in an active addiction?
I met him while I was in active addiction, and yeah, he was too.
So what does that mean?
That means we was getting high
together.
Well, he was getting high wherever he was getting high before I met him.
Okay, so he didn't introduce you to cocaine?
No.
Gotcha. Okay. So how do you meet this guy who introduced you to cocaine?
Oh, and it really wasn't a guy. I hate to say that. The pair of lips is where I encountered the cocaine. And he was from my hometown, but I didn't know him.
Okay.
But I wanted to know him. And the promiscuity stepped in and was like, well, I guess you're going to have to do this if you want to know him better. And I was the type of chick that if I want you, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to get you. I didn't know that I would get addicted to cocaine trying to chase after a man.
Wow.
So that's where it came from.
So talk about that. What was that like? You knew what it took to get something for a temporary time period.
I knew what it took to get something for a temporary time period, but ultimately I'm trying to upgrade it and make it be permanent.
So how did that work out?
It didn't. It didn't work out. It got me addicted to cocaine. It led me to do things that I can't take back. It didn't help me none. It just piled more problems onto it. It made me run to places for help. Wow. I started seeking help for myself then.
Yeah.
I started looking into programs and Arbor Circle, and all that type of stuff. I started looking for programs.
So what was it, at what moment did you say, you know what, I can't do this anymore? I got to change, or I'm going to be somewhere dead, or I'm going to be somewhere where I don't want to be.
Living in an unloving relationship and just having babies. I was living in sin. He was married. I knew what I was doing was wrong. I was being convicted that you wrong. And so every day I knew I was wrong. I knew it. I was like, this wrong. We shouldn't be doing this. And then, what are you talking about? To stop doing the drugs, period?
All of it, because
because I stopped doing the drugs. I stopped doing the drugs because my daddy got sick. And he had to be airlifted to Ann Arbor. And I had to leave Grand Rapids and go see about my father. He was on life support. And I remember in the elevator in Ann Arbor, I was getting high on the elevator. I was snorting cocaine, but I was praying. If you let my father live,
yeah,
I leave this alone. He let my father live. And I left it alone. And I got pregnant for my daughter at 37. So the same time I was asking him to, save my father, I got pregnant at 37. And I had to stop. I couldn't keep getting high.
Yeah.
The way I acted when I got high, Kishen, it was no secret. She's on something.
Yeah.
See, when I was high, I had to be around like-minded people. You see how the church say, be around like-minded people. That ain't no lie. Be around like-minded people. Because when I got high, I only wanted to be around people that got high. I didn't want to be around nobody else. And even they got on my nerves. So even I thought they were strange at the moment. But when I was high, you could tell I was high.
Yeah.
Cocaine made me feel like I could jump up, go on top of a building and jump and bounce like a ball. That's how it made me feel. It had me doing stuff like walking up in clubs and hitting people, women on their hand and talk about, get your hand off my head. Stuff like that. It had me doing things that I never would have had the courage to do because I was really a scary child coming up in Flint. I was a scary girl. That's why
Yeah.
nobody remembers me in Flint. They all
Mm.
like, you, who is you? You know, we didn't remember you anyway. No, because you didn't want to be my friend anyway. So I didn't know. Nobody knew me. I was a scary person, and cocaine gave me some type of courage, and it gave me like Incredible Hulk faith and stuff. I don't know. It was scary.
But at some point, when you were going through all this and you finally decided, I have got to let all of this go, I have got to go in a completely different direction, and you chose faith.
Amen.
You
Yes.
chose not to
Yeah.
continue going down that road. You
No.
chose to let the drugs go, the
Yeah.
men go, just all
Right.
these bad relationships go.
Everything.
What was it? Well, you said you spoke to God and was like, okay, if you let my dad live, then I'm going to give all this up.
Yeah. And then I still hadn't given it up because I was still living with the scarecrow and we were still having kids and stuff. And I'm going to tell you when I really started to want to, my father died July the 16th, 2008,
Mm,
dropped dead in my living room, in my dining room on the floor in front of my daughter.
mm,
And I knew I was coming up the driveway and I seen the fire department, everything. I came in there and the paramedic was punching on my father's chest. He looked up at me. He said, "Do you want me to keep trying?"
mm, mm,
And I threw my hands up like this. I had never threw my hands up. And he took my hands and he put them up. And I never put them down for like 5 minutes. I just held my hands up in the air and I surrendered.
mm.
July 16, 2008, I surrendered to the Lord. And that's when I started meeting people. And he just took me where I'm at today. And he got more places to take me. So I got to be prepared for that.
See, and I normally, I'm just going to have to use a towel, I guess, because I ain't got no tissue. Um, what was that like for you? Because that was 2008. So that was what, 14 years ago?
I think it's going on 13.
13? What have you done since then? Because when we met, I didn't know any of that about you.
No, you didn't. I didn't talk to nobody. Like I didn't have nobody there to talk to about that type of stuff, but one friend. And but when that happened, Kishen, I hit the flow running. See, death will take you two ways. And that's where my business, Love Leaves a Legacy, was birthed out of my father's death because I would give anything to have a letter to open up and read or a video I can look at my father or anything, something that my father said, some words that will stick to me that, I will give anything to have that. So Love Leaves a Legacy is based out of that to help other people with grieving. But when my father died, I hit the flow running because he ain't here no more. I sure ain't gonna shame him why he.
Mm,
I'm not gonna do that. That
yeah,
was one thing I'm not gonna.
yeah,
So it's time to grow up. It was time for me to grow up because I can't shame my daddy.
right.
No.
So you have these beautiful children, your second set of children, your second generation of children. And from what I remember of them before COVID and everything else, they were always, in my opinion, very intelligent. Um, they just seemed wise for their young age.
And that's because I raised them. My mother, helped raise my older children. But these two children, I was going to raise because I have always been looked upon, and I know they talk about me like she can't do this, she not going to be able to do that. She can't make it without her daddy's money. She can't make it without her mother giving her stuff. So I made up in my mind, and I did that before my mother died to prove to her I can do, I
Well,
can do.
who would say that?
Other family members,
Okay.
other family members, stuff like that. You know how family they talk intervene, interwoven in. You got an auntie that'll say this, a cousin that'll say that, different stuff like that. But I love all my family. I don't think they meant no harm for it. I think my mom had a lot to do with it because sometimes it might have made her feel good to say that she was doing this, that, and the other.
Mm,
And I didn't want that for these two. I didn't
okay.
want that for these two.
Okay.
Nope, not for these two.
So did your younger ones really get a chance to know your parents?
No, my 14-year-old was 1.5 when my father died. He got to see her. Uh, the youngest one, she got to know my mom on up until she was 9. So the older one, yeah, they got to know my mother a lot. I spent a lot of time down there with her in Georgia before she passed away or whatnot. So they did. They got to know her. They did.
Okay. Um, and we're still talking about Led Astray, a
Yes.
single mother's journey
Mother.
from failure to faith.
Yes.
Um, see, one of my posters, and I don't know what page that go on.
Let me go on it.
It's all good. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about where you are in your journey, because you have made a decision to make an impact, leave a legacy, love on your children the way that you want to love on them, the way that you think they deserve to be loved on. And sometimes people will misinterpret that some kind of way.
All the time.
They may misinterpret it as she thinks she better than people. Oh, she too good now. And I say that from
Don't forget
experience.
this one. You ain't never did nothing. That wasn't nothing.
You know what's interesting with that though is and people will try to tear you down so that they look good.
Yes.
But if you feed into that, then it proves a point to them. It proves that, okay, well, there must be some truth to it. Why is she saying anything about it? And I can only speak from experience, you know. But it's okay, because I think it's incumbent upon women to not allow other people to define them for whatever reason. But I think the example that you are setting for your daughters in particular, and your other children as well, but they're older, and sometimes it's hard to reach them with everything that they've gone through, but you're still doing that. And sometimes the best thing that you can do is just be the example.
Right.
So where do you see this going? Where do you see, because this is not just, this is your story, but other people can relate to this.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna go somewhere I ain't never went before. So I don't know. I do believe that though. I look at it and cry. I can't even look at it because I had one of my friends who her name is in there. She called me and she said, you know, you didn't write that book. She said, God wrote that book. And
Ha.
I said, I know. So, you know, I didn't just do this for myself either or my kids. I got girlfriends that's looking at me. The men who I've been involved with, I have female children attached to them that's looking at me to see if she's going to go back. Is she going to do
Mm.
this? No, because I want you to be more than what you think I'm supposed to be. I know you can be more. And we don't have to settle for this. We don't have to settle for this. Is this so no, I mean it is a big sacrifice. Like I said, these women here are led by their flesh. Every other word come out of their mouth is my man and this and that, and the man ain't no good, and all you got is problems. And I just look at it and say thank you and do like this. Because I don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want that problem. I have a choice now. When I didn't believe I had no choice, when in my mind I didn't think I had a choice, I have a choice. Everybody have a choice. You don't have to do this. You doing it because you want to do it, maybe, but because you want to do it, I'm not gonna sit there and listen to it either. That's something
Yeah.
else. So I now I can understand where my older friends would come in and say, you stupid, you know, say stuff. And I didn't want to hear what they were saying. I had other friends that was older women that was telling me, you dumb for doing this all the time I was doing it. She was like, you stupid. And but I wouldn't listen to her. But I appreciate everything she said. You know what I'm saying? I didn't talk back to her. I just stopped associating with her. But now she the same one that told me, you know, you didn't write this book. So yeah, I I can't do nothing but live by example because I'm no angel. And when I go to speak and say something, they want to always bring this up. They love to bring this up,
Mm.
but they don't want to read it. And I done gave it to them for free, but they don't
Wow.
want to read it. But you want to keep bringing this up. But this ain't this not this no more. I'm even through with this. I'm finna be on with something else. What is you talking about?
So how does somebody get this book? Because
Somebody can get this book off of Amazon.
oh really?
Yeah, my book is on Amazon. You can go to Amazon. It's $12.99 on Amazon, and
Okay.
it's $7.99 for a Kindle. So yes, if you want to go, but if you want an autograph book from me, then you're gonna have to contact me, and they can contact me through Patricia Ansari, or they can contact me at Patricia Coleman on Instagram. But or my love leaves the web. My love leaves. Look at me.
I
or
love
my
it.
love, or my love leaves a legacy. LLC.com website, which I am currently working on and need help. And I can't never get no help from nobody, but they always want to talk about how they man ain't no good. I don't want to hear that. Can we talk about getting my website up and do stuff? But man, I'm just Lord Jesus, but it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be
You
all
know
right.
what? It is. And you know what? Somebody made a comment. Um and people have been jumping on and jumping off, and you know, so people are listening to your story. So
That right.
Tasha McLaughlin, I actually interviewed her about a month or so ago, and she has a book called A Winning Season. And so what she stated was, this is ministry. This is ministry, an amazing testimony. We can't allow the non-stakeholders in our life to occupy space and diminish God's purpose. Praying that God elevates her ministry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know. Yes, she got it. She right. She's
Yes.
right. And you know what? I guess I'm a DMX. He must have left here at the right time. He left here though, and I'm kind of a DMX type of chick. And they didn't just church people don't know how to take me. They don't know how
Mm,
to take me. But what she just said would be said nicely for church people. But my voice ain't for the church people. My
mm.
voice is for the people in the streets that don't believe the church people, that don't trust the church people, that don't want to tell about the spiritual baptism, that don't want to tell about the molestation of the priest touching them. That's where my voice.
And
That's
see,
where I'm.
somebody needs to hear that,
That's where I'm.
because people won't connect with everybody, especially if they aren't approachable. Well, I can't really talk to you. You know, you don't understand. And I mean, that's why you wrote this book.
Yes.
So whoever told you, you know what, God wrote this book. God used you as a vehicle. He used you as a vessel to speak to people about how the church can pimp them out, you know, or just do whatever. And if you don't have somebody guiding you, just imagine if you would have went back and then your kids would have went back and they would have got sucked in. So you had enough wherewithal to not continue in that. But you never know. You're right. You don't know where else you're going with this.
No, I don't. You
don't went from Grand Rapids to Omaha,
Nebraska. It's all in South Carolina. It's a lot of places. I got Arizona asking for it. I got a lot of people asking for it. I just sent one off to Kentucky yesterday. So I do.
You keep it up. You keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Tasha also said, heard this today. When you are in your valley, those with you can't see themselves. Sweetheart, she doesn't live there anymore.
Ooh. Say it again for the people in the back can hear you.
Yes, heard this today. Exactly.
I don't live there no more.
Hello. This is the shell. This is the who was, and where she is now is not here, but she's leaving this deposit so that you know that you don't have to stay there anymore either. Right. Patricia, I have been blessed. Girl, I did not know you were going to make me cry. I'm trying to hold it all in.
I'm sorry.
Mascara, eyeliner stuff coming off. I'm like, oh, Lord,
I am so sorry.
Don't come out. You know what? Don't be sorry, because you got to be real. If people can't see you and see that you're authentic in who you are, and you're just trying to share a story so somebody else doesn't have to go through it. That's what it's all about. So don't apologize. That just proves how genuine you are in just trying to just get the word out, trying to connect with somebody. Maybe somebody right now who is listening, and maybe it's not at this second, but it's a rebroadcast, or they're just searching online and they come across this interview and they're listening, and you bless them. You help them to get out of their mess. And so it's just, God is just using you that way.
Amen. And I want to continue to be used.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next for you?
Well, what's next is the promiscuity. I'm about to write a little about that. Since I've been living here, I've heard some stories about my family that has a lot of those skeletons in the closet. I could see where they was passed off on me. Wow. I could see why I did a lot of the stuff I did, because it's already been done before me. But we're going to stop that. That little pretty girl you see, them two little pretty girls, we're not having that.
I know that's right.
We're not doing that. We going to college, we going to graduations, and we going to weddings. We're trying to stay away from funerals as much as possible. And we're trying to build things. This is new. This is a whole new, it's a Bible verse that say if a kernel of grain don't fall to the ground and die, then won't nothing come true. Well, my mama and daddy is gone, and they ain't fell to the ground and died for nothing. They left us here to multiply stuff, and we're going to upgrade it, and we're going to make a change. We're going to do things better than they did. Every generation needs to try to do things better than the last generation. So I'm looking forward to cutting out teenage pregnancy, promiscuity, adultery and fornication, even having children out of wedlock. That's something that's big here. Everybody is connected. Everybody in Omaha, some kin to somebody. I done found out who my brothers and sisters' real daddy is after 60 years. All of that old crazy stuff. All that old nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense. I said it, nonsense. It needs to stop. And
Yeah.
they done passed it from one hand to the next. You done passed promiscuity, whoredom, whatever you want to call it. You done passed it down, 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 where the buck stops here with me. That's why I'm here too. He sent me here for a reason. It stops here, right here. So, and a lot of people may not like me after this. I didn't say your name, but if it hit you in the chest, oh well, you felt it. But all of this gonna stop right here. We don't look forward to all these secrets, these
Yeah.
horrible secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know Lisa Burdine?
Yes, that's my cousin.
She said, and she's very courageous for getting out there sharing her story.
She knows it. She knows it. She knows it. That's my cousin, Burdine. She is my
Okay.
cousin who I found out my mother didn't like because my mother had 4 children with her uncle. See, stuff like that you could never tell that you had to go to your grave with, and we got to dig up the shrubs to find
Mm.
out whose blood besides Jesus is running through our veins.
You know what? That's something and that they won't talk about because of the skeletons. But
Mm,
I think that's powerful for you to share that, because somebody who may not even know you, that may be a trigger for them to decide, you know what? I knew there was a reason why this kept happening.
yeah.
Or I knew there was a reason why I felt this way. Or I knew there was a reason why I couldn't figure out why I keep going down this path and I keep having these bad relationships and all this other kind of stuff. And you are providing them with that door to go in there with the strength, the courage, and prayerfully, whatever else God would have them to learn, the wisdom in this process so that they can come out of that unscathed. Patricia, girl, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having me.
Angela Hook says, hey, Patricia.
Angela, and I do need to send a shout out to Miss Nisha Freeman, the locksmith who helped me get rid of any sort of man. She really helped me. I want to send a shout out to my pastor, Joe Brooks Jr. in Kalamazoo,
Yes.
Michigan. He is a very anointed spiritual man who has allowed me to know who Jehovah Nissi is and have him hover above me. And I thank him for that in the Whole Stones Church and Acts Gospel
Hey.
Church, Pastor Moses and Diane, Pastor, oh my goodness, Mark Kresge is not a pastor, but Michael Bresnaw is. I just have a lot of people that I like to thank. Anita Christopher and Bobby Hilliard. I thank them from the bottom of my heart.
You know what? All the
Clara
shout out.
Blakely. I just shout it out. Shawnette Davis, everybody.
But you know what? And just so you know, when this is all coming together, when I release the video as well as the podcast, I'll make sure to tag you so that for people who missed it, then they'll get a chance to go back and they can watch it on their own time, or they can listen to it whenever they have time to do it. Or when it comes down today, and if they want to go back and re-listen to it, then they can.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And this concludes today's interview with Patricia, but that doesn't mean you won't be able to see her later. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.